everyone. So we received a recusal, like an email for a recusal request, and it was for Supervisor Leva, which is me, to recuse themselves. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and um, waive chair over to Jake so that we could go through that process.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you guys all for coming. Special shout out to all the commissioners for being here today. I really appreciate that. So yes, we were given 2 requests for the recusal of the supervisor of elections for Reese. So as of right now, I'm just going to go ahead and read that email to you guys. It is public. We received 2 requests. First one being from Kimmy, the second one being from Molly. The emails are the same. So essentially, I'm just going to read you the first one, which was sent by Kimberly Carlson. So it states, "Good afternoon. I am hereby requesting that the Supervisor of Elections, Leva, recuse herself from the entirety of the violation hearing on March 25th, starting at 12 p.m. The reasoning behind this is that she publicly filed a violation on Meg and Austin's behalf, which resulted in the opposing candidate being disqualified and has previously been biased, as mentioned in former Commissioners Carlson and Dang's resignation letters. This leads me to believe that the bias will impede the results of these violations. Thank you for your time and consideration, Kimmy Carlson." So that's the email that was sent to us, and that's pretty much the merit that she feels is necessary to go ahead and recuse for Reese. So now we're going to go ahead and open up to the commission to kind of debate the pros and cons. You guys can kind of say how you feel. And yeah, if you have, just go ahead and raise your hand, and then I'll call on everyone to kind of speak their mind.
I didn't raise my hand, but I'd like to speak.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
I just like some clarification as to the claim that Fabrici filed this on their behalf, and more in like it's her duty to, given the information that she was given, given her position as well. So I'd just like some clarification as to why that claim, what that claim means, and why it holds any merit.
All right. So, I mean, I guess, Brody, do I answer that, or do I open up to whoever filed the recusal?
Emily, you're asking a question. Who are you directing that question to?
I'm going to direct it towards Fabrici, given that she has she has her duty as a supervisor of elections, so she can kind of clarify that.
Yeah, that's fine. To clarify, Fabrici has yielded the chair, but she is still a commissioner during this portion.
So I can answer that. So yeah, it's our duty as commissioners that when we see a violation or we're made aware of a violation, we have to just file the affidavit and go through that due process. And that's exactly what I did. If necessary, I can find in Title VI exactly where it states like the duties of a commissioner and how that's part of it. But I think that's very straightforward. And I think all commissioners understand that. I also think other commissioners have also filed violations for both tickets, and I myself have filed violations for both tickets. It's just a matter of seeing a violation, filing a violation, and going through the process.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Grant?
Well, I mean, I have 2 questions, so I'll just start with the first. I guess for Reese. The first one is in regard going back off of that question, following up on that question. It was mentioned about your filing the violation. Was there a reason? Just going off of public information, I know that there was the police were was contacted. Do you know if there was a reason why it was you who filed the violation and not the ticket who was wrong?
So I believe the ticket chose not to file a violation. Again, like everyone's within their own right to file one. But again, like as a commissioner and as supervisor of elections, when we're made aware of something that's not correct, I think, especially when it's pertaining to the election, I mean, really when it's only pertaining to the election, we're within our right and within our duty to go ahead and submit something and follow the process on that and see, because again, it goes back to having a fair election and following the process, because that's literally what we're here for.
All right, and then my second question is in regards to accusations that was made within the email about an innate bias. Can you speak to that accusation?
Absolutely. So I wouldn't go as far as calling them accusations. I would more so call that an opinion, because at the end of the day, I'm like, no facts or no specific examples were cited following that other than me following my duty as a commissioner. And again, everyone's entitled to their own belief as to a person's character, but I can speak on my own character. And I know that I've acted in an unbiased manner and just kind of followed right and wrong through everything through this election. But again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I know, speaking personally and speaking from my true intentions, I just really wanted to be unbiased and maintain a fair election. And that's why I filed violations for things that I've seen that were done incorrectly in against both tickets.
All right, thanks. Commissioner Grant, do you still have your hand raised for another question?
Yeah, well, actually, a point of information. So, just to clarify, we're within debate, so I can just go into debate based off without having to like motion, right?
Yeah, you can speak how you feel.
All right, so since we are in debate, I'm gonna say that I am for keeping the supervisor of elections, Leva, within this hearing. Throughout the election season, as challenging as it was, she has displayed no bias towards any candidate. As she has previously stated, she has filed violations not just against uh, one ticket, but towards both tickets. And as she has stated within statutes, it is her obligation, whether it is filed by the candidates or not, to report stuff that she has seen that may constitute a violation. So I don't see any reason to penalize her for doing what she is required to do by statutes.
All right, great. Thank you, Commissioner Grant. I guess I'm going to go ahead and speak on behalf of Fabrici. To be honest, I don't think this claim has any merit. Kimmy was asked to be recused from Meg and Austin back a couple weeks ago because of her being unbiased. They felt that she was filing multiple violations against them. So now Kimmy's kind of using, in my opinion, the same logic against Fabrici, which doesn't really make any sense. I can definitely attest to Fabrici being unbiased throughout the election process with me working on the leadership aspect of it with her. I definitely think she's going to continue to be unbiased going forward as a supervisor of elections. And she's definitely been an asset here as part of the commission. All right, Commissioner Brisalaya.
I would like to also echo the same sentiments as Jalen and Jake. Throughout this challenging election season, Fabrici has done her job, and she has remained unbiased given everything we have had to go through. And I believe she should not be recused from these hearings today. And that's just my final word on it. If there's any other commissioners that would like to speak on it, but thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Grisalaya. So seeing that no other commissioners have their hand raised, I'm just going to go ahead and move into voting at this point. So all commissioners that are in favor of keeping Supervisor of Elections Leva in this hearing and not being recused, if you could just please raise your hand at this time. All right, thank you. You can go ahead and lower your hand now. And then all commissioners that do believe that Supervisor of Elections Leyva should be recused, if you could raise your hand at this time. All right, thanks. So with the vote count of 5-0, Supervisor of Elections Leyva is not going to be recused from this meeting. So I go ahead and hand over the chair of the meeting back to her. Thank you all for voting.
Thank you all for your time. So we're going to go ahead and start the hearings now. Give me 1 second.
Before we begin, Supervisor of Elections, can I have a point of information real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
So basically, as the accused, we want to ask for the withdrawal or the removal of the statement made by Tyler T. for Bethany's hearing, as well as the signed statement for Molly's hearing, considering the fact that the witness who provided a statement for Bethany's hearing, as well as the majority of the signers of the document for Molly's, were not provided on the witness list to actually physically appear here today. And it's our right as the accused under Title 6, 606.21G to basically cross-examine all witnesses that testify in the violation hearing and the filer of the affidavit. And furthermore, no evidence submitted by a witness may be considered at the violation hearing if the witness does not appear at the violation hearing for cross-examination by the accused candidate or ticket.
I'm sorry, can you cite where it says that in Title 6 one more time for me?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 606.21G under the rights of the accused.
Okay, so since that evidence was provided by the filer, it will be considered just tangible evidence, but it won't be seen as a witness testimony because they're not witnesses. That being said, obviously it must be seen as just that. So like it has to be taken word for word on the document. No questions can really be asked like as like character or anything like that. We can clarify more once we get to that point. And yeah, I don't think Attorney General Rodriguez isn't here either. He could provide more information on that if anything when we get to that point. Or Brody, if you want to help me out.
No, I think that's the correct interpretation.
Okay, so that being said, we do have, so 5 affidavits were filed, so we will be seeing them in this manner. So we'll be seeing the 2 affidavits filed by Bethany Williams. Since they're both regarding 604.2D and 606.2C, they'll be seen as a block. And then the commission will move to deliberation, vote on that one. We'll take a 10-minute recess, and then we'll resume for the following hearing regarding Kimberly Carlson and 606.4B. And then we'll go through that process, go through the evidence, all that stuff. The commission will move to deliberation, vote, and then have a 10-minute recess, and then we will return for hearing 3, which will be Kimberly Carlson and pertaining to, I don't have the statutes written for that one, sorry. Regarding 606.4K and 606.4E. And then our last hearing will be the affidavit filed by Molly Hoffman regarding Title 6, 604.1F. So yes, and then that's how we'll go through the hearings, just because they are different things. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and start this first hearing regarding the affidavits filed by Bethany Williams regarding 604.2D and 606.2C. Roll call and verification of quorum. Supervisor of Elections Leyva, I'm here. Assistant Supervisor of Elections Lipstein.
Present.
Commissioner Loya. Commissioner Galloway.
Here.
Commissioner Harris. Commissioner Garisalaya.
Here.
Commissioner Calderon.
Here.
Commissioner Chat.
Here.
Commissioner Grant.
Present.
Commissioner Chin.
Present.
Commissioner Guerra. Commissioner Kobos. Okay, quorum has been verified. At this time, the filer can make a statement. They're able to make a statement pertaining to the violation charge they filed, and there are statements towards it's aimed towards the commission regarding the violation and all evidence the filer has submitted, as well as they're able to introduce their witnesses that will testify on their behalf. So Bethany.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Ms. Hall, Mr. Wilson, and all in attendance. I am here today to speak on my experience in regards to the affidavit pertaining to the unapproved displaying of campaign materials by Hall and Wilson's campaign. On the evening of March 15th, after a conversation with an RA friend of mine, I became aware of the fact that these signs were being displayed in violation of UCF Housing and Title VI. I asked for clarification in a group chat where I was bombarded with different accounts of the accused violating these statutes. According to Title VI, candidates that wish to distribute or display material on or in a building must first have secured the written permission of said building's manager and shall submit such permission to the Election Commission prior to the distribution or display of said material. According to my evidence of signed witness statement, these materials were not approved. Additionally, there are 6 separate accounts of illegal displaying of campaign materials. The first being located in the UCF Breezeway, the second being in front of the UCF Fraternity and Sorority Life building, the third being in the courtyard around Night Community, the fourth being in Hercules Community Courtyard, the fifth being inside the Apollo Community, and lastly, the sixth being in the surrounding area of the Libra Community. I would like to specify that the Commission should determine these violations on a case-by-case basis and utilise the stacking rule if more than one example that I provided is found to be in violation of these statutes. I would like to conclude my by stating that I filed this violation as a concerned and confused student, and I hope that the evidence providers, as well as my witness Hannah Bryan, can help inform the Commission about the unfair acts that Hall and Wilson were doing behind the Election Commission's back.
Thank you, Bethany. Also, point of information, the statement will be seen as just a statement, not a witness statement, since the person is not here today. They can't be considered a witness. At this time, we'll have statement of the accused. The accused is able to make a statement pertaining to the Election Commission regarding the violation and all evidence that the ticket has submitted, as well as introduce any witnesses that will be testifying on behalf of the ticket.
Hi,
Thank you.
sorry, I'm just clarifying that Hannah B is here.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just
as a witness.
Written witness statement that won't be a witness statement.
Okay.
Yeah. Austin, you can go ahead.
Thank you. So good afternoon. First, I would like to apologize for Meg being unable to attend today because she's actually currently at the PLC coordinated Eternal Night ceremony honoring her friend and UCF student London who passed away in 2019. I also would like to apologize today for taking the Commission's time with these hearings and highlight the unreasonableness of being here today and being accused of these false and frankly malicious accusations. Let us note that all 5 of these violations were filed around 15 minutes after then candidate Dylan Street stated in correspondence that he would be working overtime to ensure this election commission is held accountable. Soon after, in tandem, there was a coordinated effort about 5 to 10 minutes before the deadline to subvert the democratic process and votes of UCF students. Kimmy Carlson, Beth Williams, and Molly Hoffman are fulfilling Dylan's call to action. and are working together in unison to attempt to punish us, but also the commission after this election season. There's nothing to gain from falsely accusing us in holding these hearings. Among this, witnesses and filers here today were mostly a part of a group me that we learned about, filled with supporters attempting to turn over any stone and bring frivolous violations forward. Take note of the screen recording of Kimmy Carlson's camera roll in her submitted evidence, and you'll see the number of screenshots she has of our campaign, pictures of Meg and myself, including the pic of us after finding out about our victory, which clearly shows an agenda to potentially be had after our win. The affidavit filed by Bethany Williams vaguely references that she, alongside other individuals, saw our campaign materials in the Apollo and Nike residence halls. We would like to begin today by stating that neither one of us are residents of neither Apollo or Nike communities, and as such, we don't have access to these residence halls as per UCF housing COVID addendums and regulations prohibit us visiting these places. As such, neither of us has placed any signage on or in the residence halls. Likewise, Bethany never states that she has seen us physically placing these signs, and instead attempts to indirectly link us to the placement of these signs by hearsay. Any third party could have taken one of our signs without our consent and our knowledge and placed them within the Apollo and Nike residence halls. We would also like to note that in the affidavit, there's some listed language about printing posters for this campaign. We've never printed posters for this campaign. Note that section 604.3 of Title VI statutes states that the candidates wish to distribute or display campaign material on or in the building must first have secured written permission. But because we're not actually being accused of placing any of these signs within the residence halls ourselves, and again, any other third party could have placed them there, we ask that this affidavit either be dismissed or once this is all said and done, we be found not in violation. We stand firm that today none of these accusations are accusatory to us as a ticket and are in fact malicious and meant to discredit our electoral victory and punish this election commission by dragging out this process. As such, we ask that the election commission dismiss the violation affidavits and we be found not in violation under section 600Z, 604.1A of Title VI of the Student Body Statutes. Thank you for your time.
At this time, the Election Commission may question the filer. Commissioner Grant.
Hey, so in regards to, and I guess I'm just seeking clarification, in regards to, you said you were, was it informed about the posters? Like, were you informed about, or were you told about, like, by eyewitnesses that it was the ticket or the accused candidates that put up the posters, or were you just informed by witnesses that there were posters up?
Hi, can you ask that question again, please? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So were you informed by witnesses? Because you mentioned that you were informed. I don't know if you were informed. I guess I'm just seeking clarification. I don't know if you were informed or if you witnessed it yourself. But you said that you came in possession of information that the candidates. I'm trying to like clarify. Was it the candidates that you said you witnessed or were told put up like posters, or were these just posters that were put up in the community? Like, do you know if it was the candidates who put it up, or was it just posters that were put up by like a third party?
To my knowledge, it was the candidates that put it up because it's their signs and they're responsible.
Are there any other questions for Bethany at this time? Commissioner Chin.
Hi, Bethany. So I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but when was when were you aware that these signs were placed in the dorms or housing areas?
The 15th, I was made aware. I saw it myself, and then I asked for clarification regarding these signs, and then that's when I dove into more detail. As I'm a student, so I don't know about the statutes in that much detail, which then I had to take time. So I first found out on the 15th.
Of March?
Yes.
Commissioner Galloway, you had your hand up. Do you still have a question?
No.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Grisalaya.
Hi, I have a question regarding the evidence. I was looking at the evidence right now in the folder.
Hold on, we'll save the questions for the evidence for the later portion, okay?
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry about that. It was just questions about where the signs were, but okay.
We can save that for later.
All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Grant.
Hey, just another clarification question. It also connects to a previous question that was asked. So if you saw the flyers on like or the posters or yard signs on the 15th of March, was this something that you just noticed? Like, are you a member of any of these communities? Do you live in these communities, or was this something that was it like just put up on the 15th, or was this something that was there? Like I'm trying to get a clarification on the timeline of this.
Hi, so I was walking around campus, which I normally do, and I saw these signs. And then also a third party has, such as the RA, let me know that these signs were there.
Question. So the RA of a community you don't live in told you about signs being incorrectly placed?
Yeah, he's Tyler is someone that I know, so he told me about.
So just to clarify, so what's your relationship with the RA?
He's my friend.
And then he's the RA for which community?
Nike.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Calderon?
Hi, so I have a quick question. So you just said that you saw these signs per se, the 15th, and then you filed the violations the 18th, post-election. So my question here is, why did you not file it like, the 15th or the 16th instead of now, post-election?
Yeah, so well, I already stated that I'm a student and I'm not in student government, so I had to figure out if these were actually violations. And I was also being sent multiple images, like on the 17th, still of Meg and Austin violating these statutes, so that's why. Also, there were 6 to 7 more images that I received.
Are there any other questions for Beth? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions at this time. So we'll go ahead and move on to questioning of the accused. So at this time, the Election Commission may question the accused candidate or ticket, or the ticket in this case. Commissioner Grant.
All right. So in regards to your opening statement, I guess this is another clarification question. Did you seek approval? Well, actually, first I'll just ask this: were you aware of these posters up in these locations?
Absolutely not. Until the evidence or the affidavit was filed and there was actually a sign in someone's window, we were not aware that these were up at all.
Are there any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions for the accused from the commission at this time, so we're going to go ahead and move on. At this time, the filer, so it'll be questioning the filer's witnesses and evidence. So I'm going to go ahead and call up each of the filer's witnesses separately. And then the accused candidate, you may question the witness. The witness is required to answer all questions except those that may incriminate the witness in another violation. So we'll start with that, and then give me 1 second to go to the witness list. So our first witness is going to be Hannah Bryant. Hannah, are you here today?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. Austin, you can go ahead and question Hannah at this time.
Okay, absolutely. So since, no corresponding evidence was submitted with your appearance here today, I'm just kind of curious, how did you get involved in this situation? Or like, when did you see these potential signs and everything? And did you see Meg and I physically place these signs ourselves?
So I saw it on the 16th during active campaigning when I was going to visit friends in Nike, like that live in the Nike and Hercules community. And I saw the signs and I did not realize this was a violation until Beth sent a message in the group chat asking about signs because she had heard about it.
And so the follow-up question, did you see Meg and I ourselves ever place these signs in these people's windows or anything like that?
No, but per Title 6, I believe it's 606.10, you guys are still responsible for your property, even if you weren't there and you weren't the ones that put it up.
I have a follow-up. What evidence in your photos that you had and everything, is one of the photos that you took in the drive that Bethany submitted for this commission?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So is one of the photos that is submitted in Beth's Google Drive one of the photos that you submitted?
Yes.
Which, can you tell me which one?
I'm sorry, I can't see the photos that she submitted, but it was like the ones that were like outside that were with Beth and Dylan.
Okay. And can you tell me what community that is? That you remember taking pictures for them? Because just to give some background, the building behind it looks like the health sciences building, which is actually near the Libra community, not Nike or Apollo, which are situated. Nike's obviously an academic village. Apollo is closer to the university a little bit, to the student union. But I'm just curious, what actual building complex is that? I can't tell from the photos. So if you have recollection, or if I'm allowed to share my screen to show you the photo that I'm talking about, I'm just curious.
So this was photo was taken from a separate time when I was just walking around campus. I believe it was near Apollo.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. So is there any proof that this building is actually Apollo in that photo that you submitted?
I'm sorry, can you clarify?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because again, I'm just having trouble. Basically, the photo is a little blurry. I believe that is Toppers potentially in the background in the health services building. I can't tell from the photo. I'm sure commissioners can look at the photo as well. And in the outdoor, my question stems from in the outdoor temporary sign approval, if you look on it, there's actually a yellow line area where you can actually place signs along that area near Libra without getting the approval from the building manager or anything, because it's not on or in the building. So for this photo in particular, I'm wondering if it's a case of mistaken identity in the fact that it's a sign in front of Libra, which was approved by facilities and everything, versus say Apollo, which I know we never placed any signs in front of. So I'm just trying to figure out how you came to know that this building, like, if you can tell me, because it is your photo and everything like that, how this is Apollo.
I'm sorry. Can you like repeat that? That was a lot. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, no. Let me, I guess, change my question. What is your relationship to Bethany Williams?
So I met Bethany during tabling.
Okay. Does Bethany have any relation to the Dylan Amalki campaign? I know she's here today saying she's a concerned student and everything. I just wanted the commission to have the full story. Is she a part of the Dylan Amalki campaign?
I'm sorry. Can I ask why that's relevant?
No, I mean, unfortunately, based off Title VI, I can be the only one who asks the questions. My apologies for that. But I'm just clarifying to see, because she came here today and said that she is a concerned student. So I'm just curious to see if there is any connection, because in this photo, she does have a Dylan Amalki campaign shirt on. So I just want to clarify for my knowledge, I'm not familiar as well with her. So I just wanted to make sure. And since you met her and everything, and you're her witness, I just wanted to see if you knew about that connection.
I'm sorry. I just don't see the relevance. So I don't know that I should be answering that question.
Okay, no worries. I guess another question is, so is this the only photo that you have that is, that you submitted for this hearing?
Yes.
Okay, and
information, Hannah just wanted to remind you of your rights as a witness. So you are required to answer all questions except those that may incriminate you in another violation. So you just can keep that in mind for future questions.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I was not aware of that.
yeah, and I'm not trying to incriminate you or anything, Hannah. I appreciate you for coming here today to give us clarification on the photo. So to the best of your knowledge, this community is not the Libra community, which is near the Health Services building and also Toppers. This is, in your recollection, Apollo.
Right. In my recollection, that particular photo was Apollo, but I am here to testify on behalf of the Nike and Hercules community.
Okay. Are you sorry, I guess I didn't ask this question. Are you residents of those communities?
No, I went to see a friend who lives in that community. So I was outside in that area.
Okay. And so when you were outside in that area, did you see anyone, myself or Meg, or anyone in any campaign material linking them to our campaign, placing any of these signs or anything like that?
No, but again, as I did say earlier, it is still your property and you are still responsible for it.
I appreciate you for giving me the Title VI definition. Are you, I guess, aware of the third party, description in Title VI that says we are not responsible for any physical campaigning by a third party? And in your, in the best of your knowledge, is it possible with all these signs, I believe we bought over 100 something signs being on campus, that either they were moved or, someone took one potentially and placed it in their residence halls? Because again, myself or Meg do not have access to Apollo or Nike.
I guess it's possible.
Well, thank you. After that, I don't have any further questions for Hannah. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you.
So at this time, the commission is able to question Hannah. So Hannah, just remember you are able to refrain from answering any questions. Commissioner Garisalaya?
Hi, Hannah. I have a question pertaining to the evidence. This is about the evidence, right? I just want to clarify that I can ask about that.
Yeah, that's fine. We can also share screen because I know Hannah said she didn't have access to it.
Okay, I'll go and do that. Give me 1 second. Can you guys see can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am a resident of Nike, Nike Building 104. And I'm just trying to figure out what pictures here are from Nike and Hercules, because I see them every day and I just have questions about it. Oh God, wait, hold on. My screen. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. Okay.
So at the time that I was visiting of like friends, I did not take pictures because I did not realize this was a violation at the time. So this is a firsthand account that I'm giving you.
Commissioner Grant.
So following up on that, when was the first time you were informed that this was a violation? Because you mentioned, I think in previous answering of a question that one of the photos in the evidence is yours, but it's for like another community besides Nike. So just kind of get a clarification of the timeline of events. You went to Nike, and then afterwards you were informed about evidence, and then knowing that you took photos of stuff you saw in your community. Do I have to understand that correctly?
I don't live on campus, so it wasn't my community that I took a picture of. It was just one that I saw and happened to notice it was in a community.
All right, and then back to follow up on that, because there was another question to that. When were you informed that this was a violation, and how were you informed? Like, was this something that you spoke with like with your like, was there somebody who informed you, or did you seek out the information? I just want clarification.
So it was something that Beth had asked about in the group chat.
Commissioner Chat.
Hi, Hannah. So I keep hearing this mention of a group chat. Is this like a group chat with just you and Bethany, or is this like a group chat of like a group you're in, like an organization, or could you like just give me more context as to what this group chat's about?
So it was the tabling group me chat.
Tabling for what exactly?
The Dylan and Malachi campaign.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Hannah from the commission? I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Hannah, for being here. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and call up the next witness on the list. It's going to be Malachi Mullings. Malachi, are you here?
He's not saying anything for this particular violation.
Okay, thank you. So that being said, we're done with all the witnesses for this one specifically. Well, just to clarify, Beth, we're seeing both of your affidavits in this one, and he was on your witness list. So is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. He's not speaking.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Beth, now you're able to present all tangible evidence that you provided. So that'll be basically everything in the drive. You should have share screen access, so you can go ahead and pull it up on the screen if you want.
I could, would you be able to share your screen? Because my laptop is being weird.
Sure.
Please, thank you.
Bethany.
Hi, so the first bit of image you will see here is surrounding the area of the Libra community. And this photo was sent to me in the group chat by Hannah. And then as you scroll down, this image is in front of the UCF Fraternity and Sorority Life building, which was, they posted that on their Instagram, and then someone sent it into the group chat when I asked for clarification regarding the other signs. And you can keep scrolling, please. And then this is another photo, which is the surrounding area of the Libra community. And as you can see, it's directly, like, it's very close. And then scroll down, please. And then this photo is at the UCF Breezeway. This photo was actually throughout the whole campaign. And if you keep scrolling down, please. And then this photo was on Memory Mall. And this was also sent in the group chat. Keep going down, please. And then this is the similar photo. And if you can keep scrolling down. And then this photo is inside, oh, can you go up a little bit, please? This photo was inside the Apollo community. The photo that was taken, which looks like a dorm room. And if you can go down, please. And then this is also the same one. And then if you could just go up for me, please, to the photo regarding the second photo, please. This actually, if you scroll up, you can see a time at the top, and this also is 12:06, and it's breaking sanction going back. Breaking sanction placed due to the March 16th campaign, and as you can see, it says 12:06 to the second hearing, and then that is my evidence. Can I speak? Can I read the statement that the RA gave to me? I'm just going to read this out. To whom it may concern, on March 15th, I was having a conversation with a member of the Dylan Malachi campaign team when it was brought to light that the Meg and Austin campaign team had not gotten approval to place their wooden signs in the Nike and Hercules courtyards. Me, being an RA, had known about these rules and was upset that the campaign was doing this and vocalized my frustrations. Subsequently, a violation was filed, and I can confirm that Meg and Austin had set up campaign signs in the courtyard, to which I saw, as well as I can confirm that the Meg and Austin campaign never sought approval from the Nike and Hercules community officers nor UCF Housing and Residence Life to put these campaign materials up. Additionally, I can confirm and agree with the accusation that Meg and Austin campaign had additionally put up campaign materials in the dorms. I personally saw their campaign materials on my residence floor and took them down. And then I would like to state how in the evidence you can each piece of evidence portrays a direct pattern of the Meg and Austin campaign blatantly disregarding statutes on multiple situations and has complete disregard for any statutes, and one of their signs were completely present throughout tabling, and it was blatant to everybody walking around, even the Election Commission, and there was no violation filed. That's all. Thank you.
So at this time, the accused can question the filer regarding their tangible evidence. Again, just a reminder, keep all the questions to the tangible evidence. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bethany. So my question is, you mentioned, because you didn't file it in the violation affidavit, but you mentioned this A-frame that was in the bookstore. Are you aware of Title VI, Chapter 604.2, Active Campaigning B? If not, I can read it if you'd like me to.
Oh, as I previously stated, I am a student and I'm not a part of student government, so I had to learn these statutes. So that would be absolutely brilliant if you could.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So distributors of campaign materials are restricted in the following ways. And then it goes down, no tangible campaign material will be distributed within, I'll go to B for you, the library or bookstore. And then in parentheses, it says, does not include John T. Washington Center Breezeway. So just for that clarification about the A-frame. And also, so my question, so in the evidence overview you were talking about, you said that the first picture was actually taken at the Libra community. Is that correct?
Could you ask me one question at a time, please?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. So in the first photo, was that taken in the Libra community like you previously just stated?
The first question that you asked is that, was I aware of the title or the violation? And then it actually says that it was displayed, not says that it was distributed, but actually it says it was actually displayed, so it wasn't distributed, which.
Yeah, no, so my next question, so for this picture, the first picture, that was initially, I guess, previously characterized as Apollo or Nike, but you just mentioned before that it is the Libra community. So I just wanted to clarify, this is the Libra community in the first photo?
Hi, that was a long-winded conversation. Can you ask it in one sentence, please? Because it's just confusing what you're actually asking.
Oh, no, absolutely. So the photo that you and Dylan are in, that's at the Libra community?
Yes, from what I'm aware of.
Okay. And so I just wanted, can I provide potentially a subsequent context for my next question? Because she mentioned how those signs aren't allowed and everything, but in the outdoor signage temporary sign procedure that I have in front of me right now, the line marked for where you can put them is actually in front of the Libra community. So I just wanted to make sure that the commission was aware of that. So Supervisor of Elections, am I allowed to provide that as well? Or should I just reference that? I mean, it is a public document by the university.
Are we meant to be talking about the tangible evidence that I provided?
No, absolutely, yeah. And so I just wanted to get some context with your tangible evidence. I guess my next question is the fraternity and sorority life picture. Where can you tell me in Title VI? I know you said you're not as familiar with statutes. I hate statutes sometimes as well. They're very complicated sometimes. So where in Title VI does it say we're not allowed to have a sign temporarily? For context, this was temporary for the video, in front of the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life.
Hi, how can you prove that it was temporarily? And also, yeah, that as you said, I'm not familiar with these statutes as I'm just a normal student. I would love for you to read it.
Yeah, well, so unfortunately in Title VI, there is nothing that mentions the fraternity and sorority life, so I don't have anything to read for you. But I guess that is the sign.
Why are you asking me this question?
Bethany, at this time, the accused is the one asking the questions. So
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry, I've never done this before.
No, yeah, you're good. You're good. The only reason I'm asking you is because it is the burden of the filer to prove that it was there longer for this video that was taken for the Girls Run the World video. So I just wanted to see if you had any potentially not included evidence or anything that had this sign there for the longer length of time than it actually was. Just for clarification, that is the sign that was in front of Kappa Kappa Gamma that was temporarily moved over because unfortunately those individuals in that photo do not have a sorority house. And so that's the context behind that. But anyway, I'll just move on to my next question. Other than that, I guess overall, were you part of this group me with any individuals who were talking about this violation as these violations, just for clarification purposes?
Yeah, it was a yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I think that
it was a girls' chat regarding.
It was a group chat. Sorry, you cut out.
I said it was a girls' chat regarding tape.
Okay. No worries. So other than that, I guess with your last two photos, did you ever see Meg and I or any third party themselves put up these signs? And I believe what you classified that as Nike, I think it was. I can't tell, unfortunately, from the building.
Hi. So it's all your property, therefore it's your responsibility. And then as stated in previous hearings, I believe ignorance is not ignorance. Ignorance is not an excuse.
Oh no, I absolutely agree that ignorance is not an excuse. I was just classifying it because based off Title VI, again, just bring it up, it talks about how we're not physically responsible for unauthorized verbal, written, or physical campaigning by third parties. So I just wanted to see in this tangible evidence, is there any proof that Meg and I authorized any of this campaigning on our behalf?
Hi, can you ask the question in a more concise manner, please?
Absolutely. So based off Title VI, 604.10, the candidate/ticket is not responsible for unauthorized verbal, written, or physical campaigning. So the question is, in the tangible evidence, is there anything that links Meg and I physically to approving the placement of these signs? Did you see us do it? If you would like me to classify or make my question more concise.
Yes, they're your signs. It's your responsibility. You paid for them. Therefore, you should be aware of where these signs are going.
Yeah, no, so did you see us physically do it? That was my question. My apologies.
No, I didn't, but they're your responsibility.
No, thank you so much. I think that's good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So at this time, the Election Commission may question the filer pertaining to the tangible evidence. Commissioner Grant.
So my question is in regards to the apartment that I continually see in Apollo. I used to, not to give too much background information, but I used to live in Apollo, so I kind of know like some of the rules that go around with that, and know that like dorm halls are like kind of like restricted on what you can like post up and stuff like that. This kind of goes into my question about, do you know like who lives there? Like, are you acquainted with this person? Do you know if they have any kind of connection to the Wilson and Hall and Wilson campaign?
I was sent that in the group chat, and I also have friends that are in Apollo as well.
If you could clarify that, are you saying you know the person in the building, or are you just saying you know people who live in, I mean, not the person in the building, do you know the person in that particular room who has that poster up, or do you or are you just saying you know people in the building?
No, I do not know the people in the building, but it influences other people by showing that in the dorm.
I have a question. Let me look at the evidence real quick so I can. It's the second picture of them in front of the Fraternity and Sorority Life building. And I know you said it was at 12:06 and during a day of sanctions or something like that. How do I know that it was that day? Because I mean, 12:06 happens every day, twice a day. So how do I know that it was that specific day or anything like that?
Hi, can you say that again, please? Sorry.
Yeah, just because when you were presenting the evidence, you made a point to mention that the picture of them in front of the Fraternity and Sorority Life building with the sign was at 12:06, which is, I believe when you said they had sanctions. I don't know the sanctions off the top of my head for all the hearings. There's been so many. So I just want to know how you felt it was necessary to provide that information, but I just want to know, like, clarify on that information. How do I know that it was that day specifically, or why was that relevant?
It was posted on Instagram that day, and I'm not really familiar with this. Pardon?
I'm sorry, which day?
It was the 17th, March 17th.
Okay, so it was March 17th at 12:06. Do you have anything else that could prove it was March 17th?
Yeah, it was March 17th. It shows in the photo. That's it.
Where in the photo? I'm sorry, I'm just not seeing it. If you could just tell me, like, in maybe the corner or which it is.
Can you, I don't know if this is allowed, but can you ask Austin to confirm that it was on their Instagram that day?
I guess I wouldn't be able to ask that because it has to be pertaining to the tangible evidence. So I can only ask where on the photo you could show me it's the 17th, since you felt it was necessary to mention when you're presenting your evidence.
And it's a timestamp, so I can't directly show on the photo.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that, but I understand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Chin.
Hi, yeah, point of information. I don't know if this was already talked about, but the signed witness statement from the RA, are we taking that witness statement as like truthful or whatnot? Because like I have questions about that statement, but the RA isn't here, so.
Yeah, the RA had class, so he wasn't able to attend. So that's why we did a written statement. Also, it shows his signature to prove that it was truthful.
Fabrici, but I have questions, but he's not here.
Bro, do you want to help me out with that one? Commissioners, obviously you have every right to look at evidence and basically like gauge it and stuff like that. Brody, help me out with the wording.
Yeah, so the statement is tangible evidence. The person is not listed as a witness. They can't be questioned. So, you know, it's up to you as a commissioner to determine the validity of any piece of evidence, you know, presented in any hearing. But it has to just be taken as a stand. You're welcome to ask the filer who provided this evidence any questions about it. But the evidence is what is presented.
Commissioner Grant. I mean, I guess Victoria, you had your hand up originally. So Commissioner Chin, you can go first and then Grant, you'll go.
I guess I'll just ask my question and maybe Bethany will know it. So in the RA's witness statement, he says that him being an RA, he's known about the rules. And I'm just wondering, why did he decide to voice his frustration in March when campaigning was like in February? Like, why did he wait till like March 15th to then voice his frustration when we've been campaigning for a couple of weeks beforehand?
That's when he saw everyone tabling and it was brought to his attention that there was like actively campaigning. Again, he's not familiar with the student body president campaign or anything.
But he says in his witness statement he's an RA and he knew about the rules.
Yeah, it's his job to know about the rules pertaining to the signs in like residence and housing.
So if he knew about the rules, why didn't he come beforehand or like filed an affidavit?
Hi, unfortunately I'm not him, so I can't answer that because I can't speak for him, so.
Commissioner Grant.
All right, so kind of like going off of that question and going back off of my earlier question, as I mentioned before, I've lived in like Apollo, and as the previous commissioner mentioned, in the testimony like pertaining to actual physical evidence, it is claimed by the RA in his statement that he knows the rules pertaining to elections and signs. And I bring that up because aside from the like pictures of the yard signs and stuff like that, kind of pertaining my question towards the actual room that has the poster plaster like inside the window. So I guess my question is, was this were do you did the and I guess I'm gonna see if this question can be asked. Did the in pertaining to the statement, did the person who write the statement give you any other information in regards to why the did he give you any other information in regards to why he did not like speak with these individuals who put up this poster inside the window, like in pertaining to that? Did he ever contact the the Hall and Wilson campaign in regards to this, or make the necessary contact with like building managers or something like that?
Hi, so this was not his community where the signs were placed. That we don't have a photo of that, and also I cannot speak for him. So.
All right. Okay. Then following up on that, is there any photo which it is his community? Just for clarification.
No, that's why there was a written statement, as he wasn't able to come because he had class.
And if you can reauthor, like kind of speak to which community he's an RA for.
Nike.
Okay, are there any other questions for Bethany from the commission? Alrighty, I'm not seeing any. So at this time, we'll go ahead and move on to questioning of the accused candidates or tickets, witnesses, and evidence. Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to be honest with you, since we were not aware of these instances, these people putting these stuff up in the residence halls or anything else around that.
They're still like talking and stuff like that.
So because of that, we don't have any evidence really, because again, we were not authorizing this. We were not aware of this at this time until these violations were filed by these individuals. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have other than that. Yeah.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson at this time? Grant.
So I guess going off of your statement just now as evidence, your presented evidence, your testimony, were you like, because I know I asked earlier, were you aware, like, can you kind of like walk me through the process that happens in regards to like who gets access to your materials? Do you guys have like a system? Because just speaking off of like public record information, I know that there's like been times where like campaigns have made notices of like different like incidents regarding campaigning materials. So can you go into like the accountability of a campaigning material, like that process?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. So going off your question, we were so fortunate to have different volunteers help us out and go with Meg and I and place all these signs that we had. This was, when was this? My apologies. It was around the beginning of the campaign, you know, even before voting, anything like that. We placed them around the areas. I've had many calls with Janet from, I believe her name's Janet, from facilities to talk about the approved signage locations on campus, just to make sure, you know, we follow the rules. For example, she told me the A-frames, they weren't supposed to go on grass areas. If you can, you know, avoid that because it kills the grass, and just to make sure you follow the sign guides. And so I think the evidence that was submitted by the filer shows that we did go in with the intention and the execution of doing this. I mean, if you look, there are signs at Libra. I mean, I recognize that as Libra, and as much as they tried to characterize it initially as Nike or Polo, that was Libra. And in the outdoor signage temporary procedure file, there is a line, a yellow line, where there is an approved area, that strip, where you can place signs around that area and near Feral Commons and everything. And so I think, you know, about accountability and everything, I wish we were made aware that these signs, like I wish either the filer, RAs, or someone from housing would have contacted us and be like, hey, some kid has your sign up in their window. This is not allowed. Because we would have, dealt with it necessarily, because I agree, that probably shouldn't be happening, but I'm telling you right now, we didn't have any knowledge of it. And this is obviously a very big campus. And I think there's a lot of, misconstruction in the statements and everything I've been hearing today, that people saw us physically place these. Well, I call on them to potentially offer any camera evidence, video footage, because I know well that we never entered Academic Village to place any signs. So that kind of falls into that portion of accountability.
Are there any other questions from the commission? Commissioner Calderon?
Hi, so I'm not sure if Grant asked this, but going off of his question, so who technically has access to your campaign material per se?
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest with you, all 70,000+ students at UCF has access to it. Once we place the signs on campus, we make sure, I believe Fabrici sent us an email when we were campaigning that, oh, some of your signs are falling down, please make sure, or both of our signs are falling down, please make sure you fix them and everything. And so who is actually given the signs to be placed on campus? That was probably a small group of not even 10 people when we actually went to campus and placed them around different areas. When I got approval for Rosen, that was myself and a couple other individuals to do that. So overall, with your question of who has access to it, I would, state that anyone really does, because anyone at any time of the day can yank a sign. I mean, it's not, the A-frames are maybe a little bit different in that sense, but those actual physical yard signs, anyone can take one if they wanted to. Unfortunately, is the sad reality.
Are there any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions at this time, so we're going to go ahead and move on to final questioning. At this time, the Election Commission may ask questions about all the information that was presented to either the filer or the accused. Are there any questions from the commission? Commissioner Calderon?
Okay, so this question goes to Bethany. I'm still confused. What community you're saying that the first picture is where like Dylan is? I don't know who's in the back. What community is that? Is it Libra or is it Nike?
It's Libra from what I can gather.
So follow-up question on that. So the testimony that the RA put in, he's from Nike, right?
Yes, however, the evidence, they pertain to different signs, and his statement pertains to different signs.
Okay.
Commissioner Grant?
This question is also to Bethany. In regards to kind of like witness statements, I noticed that the RA in question says mentioned something about setup in their testimony. Can you kind of like, not to be like too picky with like grammar, but like can you kind of like elaborate on what he's alluding there? Like he says that he kind of witnesses the setup of these materials. Like, is that saying that he's seen people that he could associate with the campaign putting up these materials, or is that just saying that he saw the materials?
So I didn't push him to say anything. It's his own account, so I have no correlation with his own account. He has class, so he's unable to be here. That's why we wrote a written statement. He wrote.
I have a question and then possibly a follow-up. So, pertaining to the evidence you submitted, Okay, so can you tell me where in Title VI you found that these were violations? Just because, I mean, you did include statutes on your affidavit. So I want to just, if you could find that for me, or just give me a little more insight into how you knew those statutes. Because you did mention earlier that you're unfamiliar with student government and all those things and Title VI, but you were familiar enough to find these statutes. So I just want to know how you reached the conclusion that those were the statutes that pertain to these signs being in the wrong places.
Hi, I'm just wondering how that's a relevant question.
Yeah, it is. So I can go ahead and provide some insight into why I think that's a relevant question, because I just want to get like the full story, because I know you said that you figured out the signs were in the wrong place and all that, and then time passed and then you filed an affidavit. So I kind of want to know like how you reached the conclusion that to finally get to the affidavit, because you obviously reached that point since you filed it, but I kind of just want more insight into the overall timeline. So I guess the better question would be like, can you just go back and give me a thorough rundown of the timeline from when you saw the sign to when you told someone, to when you spread Title VI, because you cited it in your affidavit, stuff like that, just so we can get a well-rounded picture.
Can you just say that again, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and slow it down. So you told us that that you figured out the sign was in the wrong place. I believe you said it was the 15th. But I'm not exactly sure on the date. But I know you said you saw it on a certain date, and then it took you a few days until you spoke to other people and you finally figured out that it was a violation. And then that's why you went and proceeded to file an affidavit on Thursday. Let me give you the times, to be specific. Thursday, March 18th at 4:49 p.m. and 4:48 p.m. And you cited statute 604.2D and 606.2C. So, just to kind of like tie it in with the evidence and the statutes that you cited, I just want to know like how you decided that those were the proper statutes to cite and all that stuff, just because they are the same statutes and you mentioned various locations and various different signs. So I kind of just want to get a well-rounded idea of how those statutes are relevant for both scenarios or all scenarios, because you did provide lots of pictures.
Hi, so I needed to know the statutes to submit the form for the violation. And then for the statutes, it's 604.2D and 606.2C.
Yeah, so I can see that you cited those. I just want to know like what was your process through reading through Title VI and how you came to those statutes, because I mean there are lots of statutes within Title VI. So and I know we talked about it does mention certain places you can have signs and you can't have signs. And when you were asked about that earlier, you said you were unfamiliar with that, but I just want to know how you missed those other statutes, but were able to find these.
Okay, yeah. So basically, as you all know, I'm not familiar with these. So I did the normal thing. I did Control F and I put in sign and building because I'm not familiar with the statutes. And I knew from the conversations with the group chat and my research from the Control F, it showed that these statutes.
Sorry for the delay. I was just Control F-ing Title VI to kind of like see your perspective as well. But Commissioner Grant, you can go ahead while I do this.
All right. This might be a little bit like flip-floppy because it's this question is directed to Mr. Wilson. In regards to a photo, the photo in front of the residence, not the residence hall, but the fraternity or sorority fraternity building. Were you aware of the posting of that image, and were either you or Ms. Hall involved with setting that up?
So I guess let me answer your question in multiple parts. I was aware that photo was, being taken and everything, coupled with the fact that, there's nothing in Title VI that talks about how you cannot take a picture in front of a building. I mean, we had a lot of photos and videos filmed in front of different buildings. And so we did, as I mentioned before, the sign was basically used as a prop in this instance, where it was brought 2 doors down from the Kappa Kappa Gamma house and utilized momentarily for that video. And so about the posting, I guess there's this, whole talk about, when it was posted and everything. Based off my recollection, to this point, because I cannot also see a date or anything for this photo, it was posted the day before Bethany was referencing at around, I believe, 11:50 on the 16th, the day before, because as you know, we were given a violation that would suspend our social media presence till 3 o'clock, I believe, the following day. So in an effort to, similar to other campaigns in the past, we released it very late. It didn't get a lot of traction because it was obviously a very late posting. So overall, I guess hopefully that answers your question. If not, I can elaborate on anything else as well.
I believe that answers my question. I do have not really a follow-up to that, but another question in regards to another photo.
Yeah.
The photo inside, I think that's the Washington Center, if I have that correctly. In regards to that, I don't even know if it's like a yard sign, but that like particular campaign material, were you aware of that placing, or is that another one of the placings that were kind of misappropriated?
No, yeah. So for that one, because Title VI, says you're allowed to distribute that campaign material within the John T. Washington Center, I believe actually someone, I don't want to, start conjecturing or anything like that, maybe have asked the commission at the tent while they actually saw some people campaigning in the John T. Washington Center. I was not, unfortunately, at the Student Union location. I was assigned to the RWC location, but I don't believe that sign was misappropriated, and I would reference 606.4.2, which again, talks about how you're allowed to, that does not include, the restrictions on active campaigning does not include the John T. Washington Center. So with that, hopefully that answers your question. So yes, I knew it was there and everything, and I knew it was there based off the approval that the statutes gave us for it to be there.
Yeah, that does answer my question. I was just seeking clarification because it was included as evidence.
No, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I completely understand. Thank you so much.
I have one more question for Bethany, kind of just to touch upon what we were talking previously. You said that you controlled F Title VI and you came across these statutes, correct?
Yes, correct.
So I actually just did the same thing, and I found 25 results, and none of them were the statutes because 606.2C states distributing or displaying campaign material on or in a building without first securing the written permission of said building's manager and submitting such permission to the Election Commission prior to the distribution of said material. And it doesn't mention sign anywhere, hence why it didn't come up with sign for Control F. And then 604, hold on, which ones? Let me find it again, sorry. 604.2D, which you also cited on your affidavit, says candidates that wish to distribute or display material on or in a building must have first secured the written permission of said building's manager and shall submit such permission to the Election Commission prior to the distribution of said or display of said material. So again, it doesn't say sign anywhere. So you had said previously that you controlled the F sign, and that's how you found these statutes. And I just did the same thing, and it didn't come up because it doesn't say sign anywhere. So can you just clarify that for me?
Hi, so why are you questioning my process? Aren't you meant to question the evidence and what happened? I'm a non-SG student, trying to file a violation which was filed.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, again, like I said,
I used other words. I can't exactly remember the words because it was a while ago. But yeah, I used other words as well. It wasn't just strictly them words.
Asking for clarification. And again, we're just trying to have a full, well-rounded understanding, and like this is pertaining to the evidence because it regards the affidavits and stuff like that. Again, nothing's meant to harm you or anything like that. Just trying to get a well-rounded, clear view of the situation. But again, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Are there any other questions from the commission for final questioning? So at this time, I'm not seeing any other questions. So give me 1 second. I don't know if we should deliberate between each hearing or should we do one full one? I think, give me 1 second. Let me see what's the best way to do this.
So I think you definitely need to deliberate after each session to determine if a violation was found. I wonder if it might be worthwhile to deliberate regarding sanctions at the end based on all of any violations that were found to be in violation. Because we're after the election, I think we can consider the sanctions collectively. But definitely deliberating, each violation should happen.
Okay, I agree with that. So we'll go ahead and move the commissioners to a breakout room so they can deliberate whether or not a violation occurred, and then we'll go ahead and have a deliberation at the very end of all the hearings pertaining to sanctions. So we'll announce between hearings whether or not violations were determined, and then a sanction at the end will be determined overall.
Point of
do I get
information
to
real quick.
say,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Oh no, Bethany, I think we had the same idea about closing statements.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You are correct. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. So at this time, the filer is able to make their closing statement.
To conclude, if it is your property, you should keep track of it, where they are placed, and if they are violating statutes. According to the UCF outdoor temporary signage policy, the breezeway violates this policy. Austin mentioned the fact that Megan himself walked around campus almost every day pertaining to seeing where these signs were placed. Due to them being aware of the outdoor policy and that they were walking around, they should have noticed it was a violation. This is all about it. Is it possible, quotation marks, if the commission believed that these events occurred? I would like to clarify that Austin said that the campaign materials can be distributed in the breezeway, which I agree with. However, these signs were not being handed out, therefore it cannot be distributed. There is a reason why Title VI distinguishes the two. As Austin just admitted before the commission, he knew the sign was in the breezeway, but personally did not believe it violated statutes. However, if he had taken a closer look, it does in fact say distributing when in fact the materials were being displayed. Thus, Wilson's argument about the sign in the breezeway is invalid. According to 606.1, ignorance of these ties and corresponding consequences should not be an acceptable defense in response to any offense in any election, either by the candidate themselves or by individuals campaigning on behalf of the candidate. So in other words, ignorance is not an excuse. In addition, the second picture of my evidence shows that Meg and Austin broke sanction placed on the March 16th hearing by posting at 12:06 a.m. on March 17th, when their sanctions started at 11:59 p.m. I appreciate you all for being here today. Thank you very much.
Statement of the accused candidate ticket.
Yes, thank you. I guess this is going to be incorporated into the closing statement since Bethany mentioned it. She mentioned 604.2, where I talk about active campaigning. That's where this whole clarification regarding it not including the breezeway is occurring. And so active campaigning is defined as Title VI, Chapter 600, as any display or distribution of tangible items or electronic media for a candidate or ticket of an elective office. So under the Title VI definition of active campaigning, which 604.2 talks about, specifically the breezeway, I guess if we're talking about that A-frame, it falls under display and distribution, but regardless, none of the affidavits or the evidence kind of filed today claim in any way that myself and Meg personally have committed any of these violations, because we didn't, because they have also failed to show that any evidence that proves that we have personally committed any of the cited acts. In fact, I mean, the affidavit itself first cites that the Apollo and Nike communities were, the target, but none of these communities are in any way identified. At one point, Apollo becomes Nike, Nike eventually then becomes the Libra community. I'm really trying to grasp, how can this election commission decide on a violation if the communities basically cannot be identified here? Overall, I mean, the filer additionally does not cite any specific statutes to the effect of these violations. Nonetheless, we have shown that we have not committed any violations, and that if any violations did occur, that they were a participation of some third party. As such, we ask that the Election Commission either dismiss these violations, or that we be found not in violation under Section 600Z 604.10A. And I guess I will now add Chapter 600, definition of active campaigning of the student body statutes. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you for those closing statements. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and move the commissioners into a breakout room for deliberation. Everyone's welcome to say, or so we'll have the deliberation. We'll announce whether or not we found whether or not a violation occurred, or if the commission finds that a violation occurred. Okay. So in the hearing for the two affidavits filed by Bethany Williams regarding 604.2D and 606.2C, the commission found, based off the preponderance of evidence and with a vote count of 0 to 5 to 2, that a violation did not occur. We also determined that because we have so many violations to see, we're going to go ahead and proceed with the second violation hearing,